there's a point to the point. Do you have a point when you do this?
I don't always, but I do start my live shows out different than my regular ones. I always start the audio work, and we're always not sure.
Do you have people that are wondering whether or not the audio works?
No, they're mostly giggling, and then they go, there's a delay, and then my live show starts because I hear me asking, and they turn the volume up in the other room. Like where my studio is versus where my staff is, because they jump online and help answer questions because so many people join our live stream on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So they're jumping in to answer questions and post links. So they're also helping me. Yeah, Tom, the audio works. They yelled from the other room. Like, cool, now we can actually talk about what we're going to do today.
That's fantastic. All right, so, hey, I'm Terry Bain. Here we are doing the Motor City Connect podcast. I got my good friend Tom Lawrence here. Today we're going to talk all about YouTube. We're probably going to talk about some of it being live, but we're going to really talk about how do you grow a YouTube following. I had Tom come and share this with Motor City Connect in October. At the time, he had 36,000 subscribers. We just checked. Today, he's at 48,000. So he grew by 1/3 in a 3-month period. Holy cow. So I'm going to go back to talking to Tom, but you come with us. Pay attention. Tom, thanks for coming, man.
Oh, it's always fun. It's the enthusiasm you have for all this stuff too makes it that much more fun to talk about.
I love that. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, I don't know, we talked about YouTube a couple of times. I know a little bit about your story, but the audience certainly doesn't. You're a technology guy.
Yes.
That's like, you're a straight up geek, right?
Yeah,
you go
all the
fix regular tech problems, whether it's wiring and cabling or server stuff or security stuff.
Deep in the weeds, as they say in my industry. I get into the heavier technical details of building out infrastructure for clients. Roll back a little bit, I've worked in tech now for 23 years as a job. Obviously it starts as a hobby, turns into a job, and now I got gray hair doing it. I've had my business, this is my 16th year in business of owning an IT company, and we service a lot of businesses. So a little bit of the background there, but where my enthusiasm comes is I like talking about it, like any geek does. And I like talking about it a lot, and I started doing public speaking events and things like that at Linux conferences and hacker conferences. And of course, you start thinking about things like scalability. It's always not the big buzz term. How does it scale? How does it scale? Well, it doesn't. You can only fit so many people in the room for your problems. Well, then someone's like, why don't you put it on YouTube? And I'm like, yeah. Well, so I threw a couple of I had some other ideas with YouTube that didn't work out, like I'm going to show you how to take apart a laptop or something, like real basic stuff I started with. And those videos were kind of popular, but what really was popular is the ones I did at the really deeply technical, talking about firewalls and things like that, which, okay, it seemed like, I don't know how many people really, I know I can fill a room at a hacker conference talking about a firewall or at a Linux conference talking about a firewall, but really that many people on YouTube? I'm like, oh crap, there's 75,000 views on a video about an hour video of me talking about really intricate details. So that's kind of really pushed it forward, and those are still some of my most popular videos I have are all the really deep technical dives and tutorials on doing security and how to do firewalls and a lot of the things related to it. And of course, these are things I do in my day job. My information on this is from practical usage of all this stuff, which helps. I'm not being sponsored or handed money to say, hey, talk about my product. I'm going, these are the products we use. This is how we use those products, as opposed to a sales guy who tells you their product is best about everything, and he'll never tell you the weak point of it.
Right, yeah. This is all good all the time, never has a fail point. You'll love it. Buy 74. Hey, use this link with my name in it. Right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we've been very careful as I run the YouTube channel, and I think about this all the time, like who do I want to align myself with for sponsorship and other ways to monetize my YouTube channel. At the end, and this was me being stupid, and if you're starting a YouTube channel, by the way, do this. If you're going to talk about something you're skilled at the end, you should probably say, did you know you could hire me to do that thing I just talked about for an hour? I never thought to do that. So
how many videos were you in before you finally used that line?
I don't know, 250 maybe.
So you were days old in videos?
Yes. I'm like 250 videos out there with I probably had 3 million cumulative views across them, and I never thought, hey, I could sponsor myself because I own a business and they could hire me. So that was a facepalm moment.
Yeah.
It was just my friend Chris, who I met through YouTube. He has a YouTube channel as well, and he's like, why don't you do that? He goes, that's what I do. I'm like, I've watched your videos, Chris, that's how I know you, and you're right, you do that, I don't. So.
That's a good move, man.
Yeah. So that's how we've avoided needing a lot of sponsors. We do things like affiliate links and talk about products and, Amazon links and things like that. But yeah, I try to keep the focus on practical usage of the product from us using it, which staying genuine, even if, I'm talking about tech obviously, but if you're a builder and you talk about your favorite tools you use or screwdrivers, that genuineness versus a sponsored by the company helps really bring in audiences. I mean, YouTube's like a massive how-to channel more than anything else.
Absolutely.
That is YouTube's most favorite content, and content they're willing to help curate more than anything else is how-to videos. They align really well with the YouTube brand because it's safe for advertisers. Whenever I see people talk about the controversy of YouTube and things like that, well, yeah, there's brands like Tide to go, I want to be in every household. We know there are Democratic and Republican and all flavors in between households. So if our content shows up on one, they have a brand association that may not want it. Like, I seen your ad on one of these. So every time someone digs into these YouTube stuff, I'm like, how-to videos are very safe, very not political, very much brand friendly, so you have an easier time growing the channel, and you're not fighting against YouTube's own policy of we're banning. Because every time I see someone, they deleted my channel for no reason, you can find archive of their channel like, you were really ranting about crazy conspiracy theories and things like that for a while. I'm sure some brand goes, nope, zap.
Really?
Yeah, there's always like that, the controversy of YouTube, and I have people tell me, you should post on different platforms. I'm like, the discovery system on YouTube from an aspect of doing how-to videos is amazing. It's outstanding. It works really well. But from a YouTube, it's a business. It costs them, they made, the numbers are somewhere in a $5 billion a year of revenue that YouTube generates. Well, someone's got to pay the bill to keep the servers on. That's advertisers paying the bill. That's fine, but they're not going to advertise if it's not brand aligned. It's just the way the dollars work.
So when you say there's controversy, are you saying that somebody lost their channel?
Oh, yeah.
Or someone lost their sponsor or their advertising?
Mostly because these are the YouTube side of the sponsor. They lose their channel. And I see this happen quite a bit.
Blow it out. You can have thousands of subscribers, and all of a sudden you said the wrong thing in October, and bye-bye.
Yeah, and we've seen some of the big YouTubers do this and lose their position in the videos, have their videos removed or taken down. And not just for copyright, but it's for controversy. That's obviously...
copyright makes sense, right? If I'm blasting Aha Take On Me in the background, right, and I didn't license that song, or if I'm showing clips of Big with Tom Hanks.
And the copyright thing is funny because YouTube has a real hard time with fair use.
Okay.
It's because there's not many people, and Google keeps it separate the secret sauce is very secret for how many people even work at YouTube. Rumor has it there's about 1,100 people. But when you think about 1,100 people with 2 billion users and so many millions of minutes being uploaded every second, yeah, you have a very small group of people. By the way, they're all probably, I think they said the average age of someone working at YouTube is 28 years old. So you have a very young group of people, engineering people, making decisions that affect 2 billion global users. That's their current.
That's staggeringly low, right? 1,100. When you said that, I was like,
those numbers like.
It seems like in an office, right? And then they have 12 of those offices.
Yeah. Well, and this is how Google themselves scale things, and their own concept is very hands-off. The algorithm that drives the search engine of Google is a hands-off. There's not people curating the content when I search for nearest burger place near me. Yeah, because that doesn't scale. They think about scalability. So the YouTubers the same way. There's a series of algorithms that are looking for things, looking for keywords. So it has a hard time, and it's harder when you start building your YouTube channel if you're making fun of, let's say, a clip on TV or something that someone said, you want to grab a piece of it. Well, that person can slap you with a copyright, but I don't know. This is completely falls, and it's well decided in court on the outside. The news clip can show a clip of something else. Saturday Night Live or any of those, that's all fair use. So this is all jokes we can make about it. YouTube does have a harder time with that. So if you're building your channel, you have to think about what some of your bases are going to be. Am I going to go full politics? It's a popular subject. One way or another, it's polarizing. You'll gain a following whether you're far left or far right. You'll gain that group of following.
Can you gain following in the middle? Because that's really where I want more people to live, right?
Yeah, and more people do live in the middle.
Let's be centrist. I want to be a radical centrist.
Yeah.
I found out there's an actual party called the Radical Centrist Party.
That's great.
Because I was like, that's what I am. I'm no longer left. I'm no longer right. I'm radical centrist. I'm going to own that.
I think more people are. like in the middle. I think it's just the way the bell curve works. It is the bell curve.
Right, by definition, what a bell curve looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, so I think there are, but then again, it's kind of boring too. It's the same reason that if it bleeds, it leads type news. If there's no controversy, it's sunshine and roses, and I didn't do that. A lot of people try to do those channels like that. They try to build lifestyle channels or something, but if there's not your classic story being done on air, why are they watching it? Are you really funny? Are you a comedian? Cool, you got some good jokes, or are you trying to build your lifestyle into it? And my cousin, I've learned a lot from her from YouTube because she has a lifestyle brand that she does with her YouTube channel. They have 700,000 subscribers. But she's very non-controversial on it because she's focused on the things she's focused on with the lifestyle. So it's kind of how you got to brand
Two
yourself.
dogs in the woods in the UP, right?
Yeah, dogs hanging out up north. I mean, it's neat.
It's like,
I'm going to hang out. This is kind of fun. They have a very relaxed life living up in northern Michigan. It's a beautiful place to live. It's a very different lifestyle to me, like completely 180. I'm like on tech going, and they're not technical people at all. They like camping and hanging out with their dogs.
that's fantastic. I kind of like that idea. I don't know that I'd like it enough to watch a show on it repeatedly, but
700,000 people do that.
but evidently I'm in the minority.
700,000.
That's insane to me. That's insane. All right, so let's talk day one, right? You said, I've got all this content, this information I want to share. I'm limited by time, scope, the ability to travel, events that actually care.
Right.
I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Is
Right.
that kind of how that went? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, kind of how it went. And I think a lot of it, like you said, I have a lot of knowledge on technical things because I've worked in this industry for so long. And so it became an easy pivot for me going, well, I'm just going to share the knowledge. And, you start with public speaking is probably a great way to start because if you're already seeing, people like what I'm talking about, I got booked at several of these conferences that I spoke at, and I'm like, this is cool, and like you said, it comes back to that scalability, so how do I do more of it? So putting more and more of those videos out there, and then you kind of listen to the audience. What do they like? What are the comments saying? It's really, really hard in the beginning because there is no comments.
Right.
There's an hour recording and then there's 20 views on a video. You're like, and these 20 views, well, at least 19 are from me refreshing a page. So, the way you could get more depressed is if you look at the watch time and the analytics.
Right.
It's like all of about 30 seconds and they fell off. Either did I do the video wrong or, and this is something that YouTube is a mystery and everyone has a secret to it and no one actually knows it. They're gaming the system. Like, all you have to do is have this in your title and this here, and there's a ton of YouTube channels dedicated to telling you how to game the system. There's no game. Have good content. Have content people want to watch. That's the really thing. And it turned out people were searching for. And this is a little tidbit that did help me a lot. I realized some of the videos, there were other people doing the videos on there, and I'm not trying to poke fun of them. They were just really bad, and they had a lot of bad information. And that reflected even in the comments. Like, one, your audio is terrible. I see that people commenting there, so make sure you have good audio. If you're doing tutorials and your voice is what matters, get a microphone that's decent. It's like $100. Like, to invest the $100, it's worth it, so you can articulate it better. So I actually did some of the videos over that I seen other people did that were popular videos, like 20,000 views on this video, and I'm having trouble understanding the guy. Then there's other views that they didn't even have a microphone, so they open up like Notepad and they type what they're doing in Notepad, and then they go and do it in the screen, like screen recording, and then they pull Notepad back up and type the next step they're doing and go there. And I'm like, this is painful to watch, but there's a lot of people watching it. Why don't I just talk my way through what I'm doing? So we're going to do this. I'm going to create this rule, and this is how you create a VPN, and I walk you through each step of it. Here's the security settings you say, and boom, those videos blew up for me like right in the beginning. So.
Got it. So do you remember, my first set of questions is what the first 2 or 3 videos were by title, and equally important, what the description was?
Yeah,
and I don't need exact, but just an idea.
The videos that really, the first videos that really went popular for me are the firewall videos, and they were for pfSense as a particular software project for firewalls, and I just started reviewing that one because it's something I have a lot of experience with, and it turns out a lot of people are very interested in as a product. It's a popular security product to run your firewall. And there's some confusion on it because it's one of those Swiss Army knife of firewalls. It has every bell and whistle and every feature, but then of course that comes with complexity. It doesn't have a one-click button that says make it secure. So you have the desire to use it because it's full-featured, and you go, what have I got myself in? There's too many knobs and buttons here. What do they all mean? And so my methodology of explaining is not just what button to click. I walk through, and this is just how I do things, is I train my staff to do the same thing. I've had to train all them, so it's This actually served as internal training, by the way. My staff would watch my videos when I do videos on new products we use. But I walk through, this is the setting you do, and this is why you set it. This is the setting you do, this is why you set it. These options are for if you want to set it this way, if you want to set it this way. So you kind of walk through like that in a very methodical way. I don't know why. That's like relaxing to me to actually, people are like, how do you make all these videos? I'm like, dude, I like doing this. This is like, I lock myself in a room, record for 2 hours, which takes it down to maybe an hour and a half or an hour of everything I got off the cutting floor. Like I cut out all the spots where you wait, because you click on something, there's a time to apply, maybe a little progress bar. No one wants to watch progress bars, so I slice it, and then it's like a therapy for me.
That's fantastic. So, you put something out, are you on screen, or is it mostly your screen, so they're actually watching the keystrokes as they happen? What are you filming?
We're doing it, most of my very popular videos are gonna be a recording of the screen, and I didn't in the early videos, but in the later ones did. I put a little corner of me on the webcam. Some people said they like to see the person talking. Okay, so I don't know if so I put myself small. That's like the compromise.
Got it. So you're there, but not featured.
Yeah, I'm there, but not featured. And I guess it's true, sometimes I use hand gestures, so it does help if you look in the corner and Tom's articulating in Italian.
If someone cut my hands off, I'd quit speaking.
Yeah, I know, when I do that, I'd feel really awkward. So I do put myself in the corner of a lot of videos, and actually that's been helpful too, because there's a lot of copycats who pirate my videos. That's frequently, at least once a week, if not more now, I've got to send takedown notices. They copy it, and it's really obvious when it's me in the video that they copied my video, as if the voice isn't enough proof.
Right.
But they'll just duplicate the title, duplicate it, and their goal, of course, is to get views on their channel so they can link to some product and sell it and things like that with their own affiliate link versus mine.
Wow.
It's funny when they leave
it's
funny when they leave the end roll on there that says you can hire us, and they have our logo at the bottom, and
thank you. I hope you have a nice subscriber list.
Yeah, and they rarely do. They rarely get that many views because YouTube doesn't favor duplicated content at all. Okay. YouTube's algorithm does smart enough. Although it doesn't automatically take it down, I have to tell them that. But it does not favor it. So it doesn't, they rarely have any, even though they've done the same title, they've duplicated the video, even a thumbnail for the most part is duplicated, but YouTube goes, we've seen that video.
We know that video. We've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, we do. So we're not going to, when people search for it, my video comes up, and if there's not another similar title, because depending how executive title, they're down the list somewhere.
Okay. So we started to talk about the idea of title, right? So what's some advice? How to obviously works, but is it that on the nose where it's like
really
how to work a networking event?
Yeah, so people are out there searching right now for things, and you can kind of figure that out by typing it into Google, and it auto-completes. That's not by accident. Google auto-completed because 20 other people said, how do I learn business networking? How do I learn firewalls? How do I learn whatever that thing is? And you can title it the same way. So you're scratching their itch. Their itch was, I want to do this. You go, well, I'm going to do a video on that. And there's even, Google has like lists of what the trending searches are. So you can, if you're completely unrelated, there's actually a guy I found really interesting who does real estate investments. And his YouTube channel's turned into making him about $50,000 a month in ads, and he just talks about how he does it. He's an investor. Like, this is what he does. He buys and flips properties. He's a commercial real estate guy. He just decided to turn the camera on.
And now he's got $50,000 a month extra to go invest?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
It turned out really big for him. A lot of people are interested, like how he looks at a building, how he looks at a property. We have a mutual friend. We talked briefly before here. Is a real estate guy. Like, I've met him a couple times. He's articulate. He'd be good in front of the camera. He speaks well. Those are a couple.
He's talking about you, Benji.
Okay, yeah, Benji's watching.
Benji's not watching.
Okay. We'll tag him in the post later. But if you can just, as simple as that, people are searching, and they go, people do that. Sometimes you have young people with money, and they go, well, how do I get ahead in life? And here's the thing. The generation coming up right now, what are they doing right now? What were they doing 5 years ago? They were watching their favorite gamers. What happened when you turn 18, you got out of high school, you go, crap, I can't just play games all day. Mom and Dad said the room isn't available forever.
Right.
This college thing sounds expensive. I'm going to go to the same place. I was just looking for my favorite gamer and type the same thing as, how do I find a job? That's probably one of the first searches. How do I get into investments? And some of these young people have been very successful very quickly because how do I start a YouTube channel is a really popular search. There's a ton of people who have really big channels that are just teaching you how to do YouTube channels. Daryl Eves comes to mind. He's got the biggest one out there. He runs a business video conference once a year now. It's absolutely huge. He's had Gary Vee and all the big names you can think of up on stage talking at it. And it's all about building your brand on YouTube. And that's all he started with was, how do I build a brand on YouTube? I'll make a YouTube channel about how to build your brand on YouTube. That's what he's known for. And you can hire him as a consultant just to do that.
Well, and you think about how important that is, because if you can show the process and the journey
Yes.
and go step by step and say, look, this is when I had 12 subscribers, and this is when I had 1,200, and this is when I had 12,000, and you can have that all documented, because that's we talk about the importance of authenticity right now. Right? So it's really weird to have somebody out of nowhere just show up like they're the expert. People start to go, really, what's your backstory? You don't seem to have a backstory. You slept on your couch, your sister's couch, right, and just made up a bunch of stuff.
What is the old joke, how to become a millionaire, those books that people write?
Yeah.
And they were broke when they wrote them, but they wrote them and sold enough of them to become the millionaire. Yeah,
That's
that same
exactly
kind of
it.
concept. We know there's an audience for reality TV. And then the writers strike happened, and we realized reality TV was very scripted. Hold on, the writers' strike made the reality TV stop? How does that happen?
It shouldn't have happened at
Yeah,
all.
it
Should
shouldn't
have
happen.
doubled down on reality TV
Yeah,
at that
so we
point.
realized, people, they kind of want to watch some of that. So there's definitely an audience for that, and people love. Matter of fact, there's a downturn you can see, and YouTube has had their own failings by not realizing their own market. There's one of my YouTubers that I really like, Colin Furs. He builds really cool stuff. Like, guy is just an amazing engineer. It's him with some GoPro cameras, man. It's amateur hour. Like, there's not a super high level of production when it comes to his filming, but he's very authentic. He's funny. He builds something really cool, and you learn from him. YouTube says, wow, you're popular. You have like 6 million subscribers. Let's put you on a produced show with an entire film set and production crew, and it's unwatchable. I'm sorry, I couldn't survive a single episode of it because they even have the background narrator. Well, Colin's going to go ahead and build the thing over here, and they try to force drama into it, and you're like, that's not authentic. I still watch all of his new release videos, but I have no interest in watching it. And I don't think they've renewed it for like another season per se. Like, they produced some videos of it. I'm like, yeah. That authenticity is what makes YouTube good. It feels like you're connecting with someone. You're looking at the camera. I'm talking to you, the audience. You're interacting. Because there's always been a wall that you never interacted at all with the Hollywood actor or even the celebrities that you may watch on reality TV. Or, I remember when Orange County Choppers was big. But you still didn't get to interact with them building the choppers. You got to watch them on TV. YouTube's throw some comments on there. Forum. I have a forum that gets thousands of views a day. That's a offshoot, so we discuss it on the video, then we continue the conversation of forum, we continue the conversation in the YouTube post. They're directly interacting with me, and that kind of helps build your audience. My cousin has her mail stuff she does, and it's just ridiculous, but she has like a mail day where she opens things up and like, all right, we're gonna see what the audience sent me. I mean, she's got like postal boxes full of this stuff.
Seriously?
Yeah, people mailing in fan letters or sending her things, and so you get that direct interaction. So you're helping actually drive the narrative because your suggestions help me decide what video next. And people always say, hey, Tom, how would you do a video on this? Sure, I didn't know you wanted to know that. So cool, and that's led to more and more. So as your audience grows, you can keep.
And do you mention the audience member that sent that? Do you say, hey, this letter came in from Jared, and
Yes.
he wanted to ask about how to sit here and use the sling on...
Yeah, there's a mention of it as long as they want to be mentioned. So I always say, do you want me to give you a shout out? I ask that because working in security, I have a lot of people who wear tinfoil hats and are highly, highly privacy oriented. So that's a valid question all the time is, do you want me to share that? And someone, oh yeah, man, give me a shout out or whatever, and awesome. But other ones are like, nope, I just want to. I actually have a guy who, he may become more public, but he's interesting. He's a lawyer, has worked in technology for a while, and he sends me some really interesting takes on articles and digs up some really cool stuff. Doesn't seem to want to mention. He just wants me to, hey, want to cover this topic? Here's a legal briefing. Here's all the links to it. Like, he builds the story for me and sends it. I'm like, cool.
That's awesome. Hey, thanks for doing all my homework.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned tin hats and security and safety, and we're a week out from, when I fell for it, it was post your first profile pic and your recent profile pic morphed into the 10-year challenge. Did you have 2 pics up there?
Here's the thing. I seen it that they're gathering intelligence and things like that. Here's something amazing and I have a demo I did a while ago on this. Google's face detection algorithm that Google has, Facebook has it too. They have very advanced systems for this. So does Microsoft. They all have their own versions of it. I've taken a picture of my daughter and said that's her when she's 17, and Google can go back to her baby pictures that I have indexed. They didn't need a 10-year challenge photo to do this.
Really?
We looked so much alike in the way the facial system works, the way the AI systems are able to recognize us. So I didn't look at it as a security risk. But I did write an interesting essay.
This is a long yes, is what
It's
I'm
a long
getting
yes.
to.
It's a long yes.
Good.
And the other side of it, I wrote an interesting essay on kind of related to it of the systems, including Cambridge Analytica. I wrote that right after Trump was elected about what they were doing. It didn't turn into a story till about a year later, but I understood completely the algorithms, how they were doing it, how they were doing dark posts. And it's funny because someone says, "Oh, you wrote that recently." I'm like, "No, that was from a long time ago." But I'm not a media guy, so I can only get this much traction with that story. But I knew what they were doing.
Right.
So, but yeah, those algorithm stuff are really out there. There are times when you got to think about it. You should never say, "Hey, what's the classroom you went to?" Because if you run down like date of birth, class, first pet, first teacher, what was your first kindergarten teacher? Well, those are probably your security questions.
Right.
That's a different
conversation.
That's where the alarm goes off in Tom's head. Posting pictures of me, who cares if it knows what I look like? I'm all over the internet.
They already know.
They know. Yeah.
They know. Well, I feel better about that because
Yeah.
as soon as somebody mentioned that, I was like, well, hey, I fell right into that trap.
I thought it was a fun exercise, seeing what happened to you in 10 years. But I also went ahead and posted back like 20 years because I've had digital photos since the 90s. But those are less red flags when it comes to security. And I think that was back to being a news story to try to build some controversy versus real controversy.
Oh my God, I don't even want to get into that topic, but we'll have to have you back and talk about that.
That's a fun talking about how the
because
algorithms work and how it drives people. So
It's
yeah.
nuts, man. We just went through the whole, a bunch of Catholic boys in mega hats yelling at an Indian fella who didn't have a mega hat on. And it's like, even I was like, this story's BS, right? This is so contrived.
Well, yeah, and that's I know you've read some of my Facebook posts. That was my thoughts the other day, like, how all the stories play on our emotions, not any real world things. So they start with emotions, they start with that way they can avoid any, because who cares about the details? I'm emotionally vested in this.
I'm already worked up,
Yeah,
man.
and I'm either on Team Red or Team Blue, so I've already picked a team, and you got your favorite sports team, you root for them even when they're losing, even when they're wrong, you're like, they made a bad play, but I'm still I believe in them.
I believe in them.
The Lions are going to the Super Bowl.
This is our year, baby.
This is our year.
We're going to come up with the 17th draft pick and we're going to do something good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so back to YouTube.
Back to YouTube.
Because YouTube's fun and interesting.
Absolutely.
You're talking about hour-long videos. You're not saying, hey, I throw up a 2-minute short or a 5-minute. Do you do that too? What's the time mix?
So one of the things, and I've talked about this both with podcasts, I've talked about this with YouTube videos. The videos are as long as they need to be.
Okay.
So if you think you're just filling air, that's when it's time to cut the video. If it's babbling about it, and I catch myself babbling, and I usually edit that out so people don't catch me babbling. I realize I really don't have anything more to add to this topic. So I have some videos that are really short because the topic was really simple to explain. I did a recent video that became very popular that I posted yesterday about how to check whether or not your password has been listed in one of these breaches. But people were worried about, well, I don't want to throw my password on the internet because now if it wasn't used, well, now it could be. There's a methodology and a math algorithm you can use. So explain that math algorithm. It sounds complicated. I did the video in like 6 minutes. Like, it's a short video, very popular. Firewall video, very long because it's a deeply technical subject. It's something firewalls are important, is all the jokes in movies. They breached the firewall. Well, that is a thing. If you misconfigure these things and you're doing it as a corporate security level, you can have some real problems. So that video is very detailed. So the same thing with the podcast that I do. It's as long as it needs to be on a subject. So once you feel that you've explained the subject, you've outlined like how you're going to do it, come up with a plan, explain it, cover all the key points, stop. Wherever that stop is, if it's at the 2-hour mark or the 6-minute mark, just don't babble. I've seen some people like fill dead air because they assume every oh, I need 12 minutes of video. The YouTube algorithm says 12 minute does better than 6 minutes. I read all the statistics, but it was published by this guy on his website.
Right, this guy who just pulled those statistics straight out.
Yeah,
Got it.
and it comes down to just how good is the content. One of the YouTubers I follow, Casey Neistat, he's interesting to me because his content's very different. He's very visually driven versus verbally driven. So if you actually cut his videos and edit them for his verbal, he's got like a 2-minute video. He only talks for 2 minutes, but he's got 12 minutes. Usually most of his videos are in 12 minutes, but there's a lot of cinematography he does to bring you into the scene that he's in because he's talking about what's going on in his life. So you have to think about that. So is your scene. But then what people do is they see Casey and they go, wow, Casey is really cool. And by the way, Casey Neistat, he does the advertising for Samsung, Nike, and a handful of the biggest Fortune 100 brands you can think of. So cinematography is his background. He's a movie maker, so he does it well. Some people think I'm going to start a YouTube channel and fill in with cinematography and walk around. You're not. I get the idea that you've seen Casey do it. And you're like, well, people watch Casey's video. I'm like, you didn't have an interesting scene.
So you're saying don't just film this backdrop and call that cinematography?
Right.
But did you see the thing right behind your head? I mean,
yeah.
Dude, I mean, that's got to be something.
So you got to think about some of those things like, does ever the content, whether it's verbal or visual, does it add to the story? Is it interesting? That's always what I'm kind of think of. Am I adding value to the story? For me, pretty much majority of my stuff I do is going to be verbal, but we do cover the jobs we do. So the results videos are time lapses. Like if you do an infrastructure build, infrastructure builds like wiring up a building and things like that, they take months. We had a job that was 6 months. That is about 2 minutes of the intro for a video is the time lapse of what 6 months culminated into 2 minutes of the wires, and then the verbal starts where I do the talking. But it's kind of the visuals bring you together. How this room looked with nothing in it, how the room looks now with all the wiring pulled. Now we can talk about what I did and show that I did it. It's also kind of that social proof we talked about. This has actually landed some jobs with people like, yeah, everyone says they do wiring, but I watched a time-lapse video of you guys build some very huge projects. And like, I see all the guys with your company logos and shirts doing it. All right, cool, we get it. You did the work.
You did the work. So that helps, right? So it's great for credibility. So when you're starting, are you figuring out what the mix is and what the play is and outlining, like, any good football game is going to have 15 plays to start off the game, right? They're going to know what those are. Do you do that same thing, or do you just go?
A little bit, like I said, a little bit of planning is knowing what videos are out there and seeing what people are doing. So how do I set up this or how do I set that? I'm like, wow, this video has a lot of views and it's bad. So there's some of the planning. It starts with an idea. And I never, ever bother, or some people love to jump on the controversy. I know what I'll do. I'll make fun of that big name person because then I can use their name in the title and I can tell you every reason XYZ company's wrong. Sometimes that is a valid way to do it because they are so wrong you want to point it out. Other times it's not because you're just picking at someone who's popular over detail. So make sure you have a really good angle. Other part of the planning is once you understand, make sure you understand the product you're talking about because, boy, there are plenty of people on YouTube who don't understand the product. They don't seem to know the product very well. And, of course, if you lose them in the beginning with your credibility or you get too gimmicky, they right away – they don't want to watch the rest of your video, and they probably won't ever look. Your videos will come up on their feed because they watched one, and YouTube will suggest you watch another. You're like, no, this person's like, the first 5 minutes of them ranting and gimmicking, I'm probably not going to come back. So first impressions.
First impression.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Frequency. How often are you posting a video now versus when you started?
Workflow is hugely important, so I didn't do a lot of videos in the beginning. It was a really slow start because you're trying to figure out workflow, you're trying to figure out how to do it in an efficient way. Now that I have a really efficient workflow, sometimes I post 1 or 2 videos a day.
1 or 2 a day.
That's how as of Sunday, actually as of yesterday, 701 videos on my channel. How do you do that in a very short period of time? Most of them are posted within, I think like 600 of them were probably posted in the last 2 years. That's almost 2 videos a day, but how do you do that? Well, you're gonna have to have a workflow that allows for that. People say, well, why'd you choose this camera? And I did a whole studio tour, and I said so much of it is I don't have time to post-process. Well, I mean, I do. I don't want to make time for post-process, I should say. My time is very valuable. I have a business to run. YouTube's a hobby still. And so having a really clear workflow, getting it right the first time so you don't spend a lot of time umming and editing, just get to your point, get it concise, and then have decent equipment so I don't have to spend time in post going, oh, I gotta get all this background noise out, I gotta adjust the sound floor. You watch people painstakingly do that, I'm like, just buy slightly better equipment because it pays for itself in the long term, because my quick turnaround time on stuff, especially because I do some news topics related to my industry to give my take on it, those videos have become wildly popular. IBM purchases Red Hat. It breaks the news, I see it on there, I got the video done and published in the morning. I did my research as soon as I hit up my friends, wow, what do you guys think of this? Jump on a couple of the forums, this is interesting. I've gathered my intelligence, I made a little quick 5-minute video, and that actually led to an investment company calling me and asking for my take and then wanting to quote me on a piece on the whole thing because he goes, you're the first one to have a whole video on this, it makes sense. And I'm like, I was up reading, I just got up in the morning, walked over to the microphone, recorded it, so.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but the thing is, record, no editing, stop, drag trailer, and then upload. So the recording was like, 6 minutes for recording, 6 or 7 minute video. I have a little end roll, I drag onto it, hit render, it renders in about 6 minutes, hit upload, takes 2 more minutes to upload, hit publish, go back to my day job.
That's a pretty cool process.
Come back 2 days later, you're like, well, there's 10,000 views on that video. Because I was first. So, but I had a workflow that allowed for that. Other people, they got these whole production, let's get 3 cameras involved, and that's cool. I like good production value, but at some point, your editing team was like 2 days behind on getting it. There's some of the big YouTube channels have like entire teams of people trying to edit the narrative and things like that. I like YouTubers who edit themselves, and one of the reasons I don't ever foresee myself hiring an editor is because that editor has to understand my style. Who understands your style better than you? If he starts, the minute you detach yourself from the editing, it suddenly becomes their style added into yours. If they're not exactly aligned with you, it shows.
That makes perfect sense. All right, we got to work toward wrapping up,
Yep.
but I have a super important question about promotion.
Ooh.
Right? So you make a video on YouTube. I mean, sure, you can assume that the algorithm is going to drive people to it because you titled it right, you got the right keywords and described it properly, but is that all you do?
So one of the reasons I'm friends with Chris and a handful of other YouTubers that I know is I started making some videos, got a little bit of traction. You got to have a little bit of social proof yourself. But getting and reaching out is really difficult, but eventually you'll find someone. I mean, it's cold calling essentially. It's the same rules of cold calling any business. I'll reach out to some of them, and if they see your channel, okay, look, Tom's doing a few things. Chris is like, come on over here, Tom. I got about 50,000 subscribers, and you got like 10. Let me introduce Tom Lawrence on my channel, things like that. So you co-opt with them is one of your best ways to do it. You add some value, you maybe have a proposal of how you want to work with them, so you got to be concise, not just, hey, can I be on YouTube channel because I want to get big like you. That's obviously
That's not the plan.
Horrible opener. So you reach out to some of them, and there's an alignment. So and this is where YouTube is weird compared to that. So I would never, you can't picture in business going to align with someone who does exactly what you do. That would be strange. But in YouTube, that exactly works. Because anytime I'm going to watch a review before I buy this phone, I'm probably going to watch as many videos, not as many views as out there, but as many views I can find on this phone before I buy the phone. So you'll see like 10 people reviewed the new XYZ phone, whatever got released. Same thing goes in my market. Chris happens to be doing a lot of the same products I'm doing. So I knew Chris's audience would probably be interested in my things. Doesn't bother Chris, it doesn't take away from him. Matter of fact, there's those questions that he did a live show back and forth. What does Tom think? What does Chris think? Because you guys have a different opinion. You have 2 different takes, and I need to tie. Who's the third guy I have to watch now to get the tiebreaker? Because you have a different opinion on this, and so it's just a great, way. It's one of my favorite ways to promote. You're finding the same audience. You're aligned with them. There's not a better way to do it that I can think of. Like everything else is trying to game an algorithm that you don't know and you don't get to see the secret sauce.
That makes perfect sense. So, because I know, like, if I go post a YouTube video on Facebook, Facebook's like, screw you.
Yep.
I'm not sending
They don't
people to YouTube, right? LinkedIn's the same way. So you have to go kind of social network through
Yes.
YouTube with people that have a better following and offer them something that they don't already have.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
you
cool.
can post it in forums on websites that are relevant. My videos are a relevant reply to some people. Hey, I don't understand how to set up a VPN. Will come up in a forum that I'm in, and I'm like, here's a video on it. I never say it's my video, but they figure it out pretty quick because they know I name in a forum and go, hey, that's that same guy. Shameless self-promotion is frowned upon in many of the tech forums, but the other side is like, if you're good at it, they kind of accept it. And it's also turned into, I have a lot of people posting my videos now. My videos are posted everywhere, and that's been kind of interesting to see.
That's huge.
You kind of get your super fans, thank God for them. They're hard to build, but they're awesome. They become like your brand champions all the time. They want to post your videos. They're in more forums than you could possibly be in. They have, just a lot of stuff going on online. So they're posting my videos everywhere, and so I see that all the time. I'll see a video, and I'm like, oh, look, it got posted to 3 different places on Reddit. Oh, look, it's in this other forum I didn't know existed. Because you look at the analytics, you're like, where did this come from? That's cool.
That's awesome. All right, how do people find you? How do they connect with Lauren's Technology Systems and all that fun stuff?
We start everything at our website, lawrencesystems.com. From there's links to my Twitter, YouTube, forums, all the links and everything about us is all in one place starting there. We've wrote some automation tools, so as we upload videos, it automatically creates a blog post for every single video, so you can watch all the videos on our website, or you can watch them all on YouTube, wherever you want to see it. And I'm easy to connect with, so everything is just, go to lawrencesystems.com. I don't got to say like 20 different places. We are in 20 different places. They're all there, though, at the bottom of the screen.
You're easy to connect with, and you're hell of easy to talk to, and a lot of fun, man. I appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Lawrence, Lawrence Technical Systems, Technology Systems.
Lawrence Technology Services.
Lawrence Technology Services. You can forget systems.
That works too.
Works in systems.
Yeah.
So go find Tom Lawrence. Do me a favor, leave a comment about what you're going to apply from what you learned today, and we'll plan on seeing you real soon.